this 6th February 2023. We thank our amiable members of the 4th Estate of the Realm for performing your constitutional duty by heeding to our call. It was on short notice that we called you and you answered us. We appreciate you and shall not take you for granted. We address you today as forum of chairmen of Nigerian political parties and candidates of the 2023 general election, comprising some presidential candidates, senatorial, House of Assembly governorship candidates. Particularly, let me announce the presence of the national chairman of the National Rescue Movement, Chief Isaac Ude. The national chairman of Action Alliance, my humble self, Chief Isakene Tudeze. The national chairman of Allied People's Movement of Nigeria, APM, Alhaji Sultan Tale, ably represented. And the national chairman of Action People's Party, APP, Chief Uchenna Nadi. We also have some presidential candidates, governorship candidates, senatorial, House of Assembly, House of Representatives, here present in our midst. Of particular importance, who is representing the forum of presidential candidates is Honorable Oscar Charles of Action People's Party, who is the presidential candidate. As many of us as possible will speak, as time permits. Many more of us would have loved to be here, but for tight campaign schedules. Many sent in their apologies and have signed up that what we shall say here today will speak their mind. Gentlemen, since the last few days, there have been a lot of interaction among political party chairmen and amongst the candidates, particularly the presidential candidates, on the issue of Naira Redesign and cash withdrawal policy of the Central Bank of Nigeria. We must have seen some of them issue statements and state their personal views. We have all heard the position of the candidate of the People's Democratic Party and also Waziri Atiku Abubakar and also that of Mr. Peter Obi of Labour Party. And it is obvious from their position that both men see the positive in the policy and have also called for action to ameliorate the current sufferings of the Nigerian people visited upon them by some unscrupulous elements in the sector. After robust engagement among ourselves, we are nearing a consensus, and it is my pleasure to announce to you all that the political parties in Nigeria and candidates for election 2023 general election support the Naira Redesign and cash withdrawal policy of the Central Bank of Nigeria. Except for one political party, which has not given cogent reason why it insists that the policy must be stopped. The majority of Nigerian political parties and candidates see the immense benefit of this policy. We, the parties and candidates, agree that these policies deal a deadly blow on illicit cash movement and money laundering. They cut off access to cash for the payment of ransom, make armed robbery less attractive, greatly reduce the chances of bribery and corruption. Of particular interest to the political parties and candidates is the implication of this policy on the credibility of the 2023 general election, which is just less than 20 days away. This policy eliminates the perennial problems of vote buying and compromise of elections. In fact, if these policies are implemented fully and without shifting the deadline of 10 February 2023 date, President Muhammadu Buhari would have taken a very huge step closer to fulfilling his promise to the world that the 2023 general election would be credible, free and fair. At this juncture, we salute Mr. President for having the courage to take these decisions. We must admit that the President put Nigeria first and not the narrow interest of party. This is indeed quite commendable. We also salute the Central Bank Governor, Godwin Emefiele, for working out the modalities for these policies. We appreciate the President and the CBN Governor for from shifting the initial deadline date from 31st of January 2023 to 10th of February 2023. Though we did not agree to it, but it shows that the policy was not draconian and was not aimed at hurting anyone or group. As we noted, our observation team have reported that there are no Nigerians rushing to the bank to make deposits anymore. It is our sincere belief that all the legitimately held old currency are back to the CBN, and it is only those who are in possession of illicit funds and are afraid to bring them out that are still in possession of the old currency more than 100 days after the policy announcement was made. It is based on the foregoing that we commend the President and the CBN Governor for continuing to insist that the deadline will not shift. It is our resolution that while the deadline remains sacrosanct, the Apex Bank can now concentrate on other things like ensuring that it identifies where the already deployed new Naira notes are being hoarded by the deposit money banks who have received these new notes from the CBN. Political parties are backing this policy 100% because they are going to improve the credibility of the elections. It is only election riggers, vote buyers, bandits, corruption merchants, and other accomplices that are against these policies. The Nigerian people are in support and are currently waging war against these identified groups of unpatriotic Nigerians who are deliberately sabotaging the policy so that the federal government and the central bank will succumb to their plot and cancel or reverse the policy. We hereby announce our resolution that at least 13 out of the 18 political parties in Nigeria will not be interested in the 2023 general election, and indeed we shall withdraw our participation from the electoral process if these currency policies are suspended or cancelled, or if the deadline is further shifted. Having stated our views clearly, we now bring to the notice of the nation, and particularly the security agencies, that we have intercepted very credible intelligence of our well-financed plot to instigate violence, disturbances, incite and provoke civil unrest aimed at undermining the president and causing a shift on the election. Painfully, we must state that this voice of dissent is coming from within the political party of Mr. President. Elements of the party that should have been the first to embrace these policies is the party championing the opposition against it. Quote, if the president doesn't want us to win our election, we won't allow him finish in peace, one of the governors told us. Gentlemen, this charge is being led by the governors of Kaduna State and Kano State, Malam Naira Redesign and Abdullahi Ganduje. Also with them are the governors of Lagos State, Sanwo-Olu, Governor Yesomwike of Rivers State, Rotimi Akeredolu of Ondo State, etc. We hereby call on the security services to put these governors on watch list, as they are seriously mobilizing miscreants to begin as quickly as possible protest, which will now commence from Naira scarcity protest and graduate quickly to Buhari must go protest, which is the ultimate end where the president refuses to budge. In all this, we ask ourselves, what is the offense of Mr. President Buhari? Even though Mr. President is not our friend and ally, we have observed that his only offense is insisting to leave a legacy and conduct free, fair, and credible elections. This insistence has made these few governors of his party to begin to speak ill of Mr. President. It is shocking that it is the same president that Malam El-Rufai eulogizes and worships that he now disparages and ridicules. These planned violence protests are due to commence on Thursday. They plan to deploy the people who they have already recruited to heighten drama at the bank, including going naked, fighting, making statements that will sway emotions in their favor, and also such other acts. They believe that if such acts are sustained for 3 days, they would have gotten enough sympathy and evoked enough emotions to launch the violence protest on Thursday. They plan to touch some banks and other public infrastructure, attack individual bank staffs, and bring mayhem upon the country of unimaginable proportion as they termed it. Again, we call on all security agencies to be on the lookout from today when they start. While these actions are going on, their media warriors will also be massively deployed to various TV and radio stations to send the message in one direction that the action of the governors is based on their love for the sovereign people of Nigeria. They agree that foundations already laid by Governor El-Rufai and Chief Fani-Kayode is solid enough for others to build on. On this we ask, when did Nigerian governors begin to so love the suffering masses of Nigerians that they could now mobilize to want to pressure and mislead the president on the true state of affairs about this policy of the CBN? Was it these same governors during the COVID-19 hit palliative for suffering masses from the same people and were using them for their families and friends, forcing Nigerians to break into warehouses nationwide? Was it not these same governors that killed the local government system in their various states without conducting local government elections and even got their houses of assembly to vote against local government autonomy so that they can continue to embezzle local government funds? Did this governor gather in frenzy and claim to love Nigerian people when ASU embarked on their last 8-month strike? Have these governors rallied themselves to pressure the president on how to checkmate the lingering fuel crisis in the country, which has lasted for many months? When did this governor begin to love the people more than they are the ones shouting the loudest one? Is it really the poor that are an issue for the governors, or is it their pockets that they are fighting for? Now, they are threatened that these policies will not allow them to loot our common patrimony. It is provocative indeed that for these governors to claim to be fighting for the poor masses actions of these same governors. Most of these governors have not reckoned with President Muhammadu Buhari insisting on fulfilling his promise of free and fair election, and have relied on using their looted funds to buy votes, and all of a sudden, President Buhari has taken a decision that has scattered their plans. Hence, these plots, and claiming it is for the people. We say it's not for the people that they are fighting. The governors are the one of the last group of people who have not taken their monies to the bank because they believe they will stop this policy. We remind them again to take all the money stashed in the basement and the attics of their various government houses back to the bank, or the money will turn paper in their hands. Mr. President, please listen to us. We know there are hitches in the process. Nigerians are asking that you direct the CBN to concentrate on ameliorating the sufferings quickly and rule out cancellation or suspension of the policy. These evil plans are targeted at coinciding with the disturbances with the 7 days grace Mr. President asked Nigerians to grant him to solve the crunch. The aim of this heightening of the tension is to mislead the president. This is not the true reflection of the situation on ground. Mr. President, if you fail to their gimmick, if you fall to their gimmick and tamper with this policy, it will only mean you cannot live your legacy and you cannot fulfill your promise. Nigerian political parties will therefore in such situation boycott the elections, as we cannot guarantee the credibility of the election where people have access to illicit funds to buy votes and compromise the electoral officials. In further show of our solidarity and commitment to the success of these policies, 5 political parties have been nominated on behalf of the others to approach the court to get an order restraining the authority, to restrain any authority from shifting the sacrosanct date of 10th February 2023, and also compel all the commercial banks to submit their weekly records of how they dispense the currency allocations they have received from the Central Bank of Nigeria from the inception of these policies. They are mobilizing and paying miscreants to protest who will claim to be civil society organizations. They are who they are higher stocks, and that's what they are. All serious-minded civil society organizations are in support of the policy. Yes, there are sufferings, but this fake amplification of the situation must stop. On this note, we are warning bank managers because we have our eyes on them. Let what happened before not happen again. Where CBN delivered the new notes to them, and many of them delivered it to the warehouses of some politicians, while some began to trade on it following the official scarcity with the cost. POS operators, who are mostly agents of the bank, cannot get money from the banks. ATM machines are not working. Bank online applications are not working. Yes, for these banks. We call on the CBN immediately. Make example of some of these banks sabotaging the policies by imposing huge fines on them, so that it will act as a deterrent. The economic sabotage of the banks must be checked immediately. Why are the banks and these governors running away from policies that will enable anti-corruption agencies to follow the money? If they indeed love the people, are they not supposed to support a policy that can allow tracking of the people's money? Further, we call on the CBN, the EFCC, the NFIU, the ICPC, SSS, police to all put out their dragnet and ensure that all illicit funds are mopped up, and to be ready to arrest those who may also dare to use electronic means to buy votes. Nigerians will recall the exposure of what was popularly called Operation Wire. Any person that indulges in sin with these policies will certainly have their day in jail. Gentlemen, we now announce to you that Nigerian political parties have, after intensive deliberation and extensive consultation, passed a resounding vote of confidence on the Naira Redesign policy and cash withdrawal limit of the Central Bank of Nigeria. We are therefore going to give the Apex Bank and the policies all the needed support to succeed. We are the ones fielding the candidates for the elections, and we are the same people saying we want the policy. Nigeria cannot afford to and will not listen to one candidate who believes he needs all the Naira in the CBN vote to contest for the election. We do not need the money, we need the votes, and we discourage votes in Nigeria being up for sale. If we have to pay our accredited agents, we shall do that through electronic means, and it will be from official account without any criminal intent. Finally, we call on all those talking the embers of crisis in our society to have a routine, as their game plan is dead on arrival. Both the February 10th and February 25th dates are historic and sacrosanct. Election will hold as scheduled, and the current administration will run its full course. There will be no postponement of election days, and there will be not unlimited illicit cash to be used to compromise the election. We also call on the CBN to inform Nigerians more about their activities to ameliorate the genuine hardship and which slam any bans found sabotaging the policy with huge fines. Thank you, gentlemen, and may God bless the Federal Republic of Nigeria. Forever. Solidarity forever. Solidarity forever. For the lowest and forever. Solidarity forever. Solidarity forever.